everyone. He Kalpataru, He Vishwaguru, He Kalpataru, He Vishwaguru, He Premarupa Bhagavan, He Premarupa Bhagavan, He Saradapate, He Saradapate, Jagatapate, Jagatapate, He Saradapate, Jagatapate, He Saradapate, Jagatapate, Tum karo mama uddhar, Tum karo mama uddhar, Tum karo mama uddhar, Tum karo mama uddhar. He Kalpataru, He Vishwaguru, He Kalpataru, He Vishwaguru, He Premarupa Avatar, He Premarupa Avatar, He Saradapate, Jagatapate, He Saradapate, Jagatapate, Tum karo mama uddhar, Tum karo mama uddhar, Tum karo mama uddhar, Tum karo mama uddhar. Faster please. He Kalpataru, He Vishwaguru, He Kalpataru, He Vishwaguru, He Premarupa Avatar, He Premarupa Avatar, He Saradapate, Jagatapate, He Saradapate, Jagatapate, Tum karo mama uddhar, 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 Tum karo mama uddhar. Bhajo Rama Krishna, Japo Rama Krishna, 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 Gaho Rama Krishna, Shri 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 Rama Krishna, Bhajo Rama Krishna, Japo 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 Rama Krishna, Gaho Rama Krishna, Shri 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 Rama Krishna, Bhajo Rama Krishna, Japo 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 Rama Krishna.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is our final session this afternoon, our beloved Swami. There have been questions about doing pranams. So at the end of the session, we will line you up. We'll start with the back row, and you'll just go around in a line. We ask that you be very respectful and not stop, because you can see how many people want to go around, and we're trying to conserve and preserve Swami's energy. He's given us so much wonderful energy this weekend, as I'm sure you all know. So we don't want to deplete that. So we'll ask you to be very respectful, and there'll be people helping you that you can pranam and then move through. Thank you all so much, and we'll take it row by row. So wait for us to instruct you on which row. Thank you all so much for being with us.
And one part of doing pranams is something called pranami. It is, you make an offering in a cash or a check. Let's do something for the Vedanta Center in Atlanta, for whom, I mean, we are all grateful because we have all come together because of them. And a big hand to the Vedanta Center. And the wonderful devotees, the team which did all this. So we would like to support them. In case you want to show your appreciation by giving a gift in cash or in check. If you want to give it in check, you make it out to Vedanta Center of Atlanta. Vedanta Center of Atlanta. Yeah, but that's later. Now, let's start with a chant. Let's chant Om at our own pace for a minute. Let's chant the verses we have already done up to verse number 8, from verse 4 onwards. Natvam deho nate deho, natvam deho nate deho, bhokta karta nava bhavan, bhokta karta nava bhavan, chidruposi sada sakshi, chidruposi sada sakshi, nirapeksha sukham chara, nirapeksha sukham chara, ragadvesho manodharmo, ragadvesho manodharmo, namanaste kadachana, namanaste kadachana, nirvikalposi bodhatma, nirvikalposi bodhatma, nirvikara sukham chara, nirvikara sukham chara, sarvabhuteshu chatmanam, सर्वभूतेषु चात्मानं सर्वभूतानि चात्मनि सर्वभूतानि चात्मनि विज्ञाय निरहङ्कारो विज्ञाय निरहङ्कारो निर्ममस्त्वं सुखी भव निर्ममस्त्वं सुखी भव विश्वं स्फुरति यत्रेदं विश्वं स्फुरति यत्रेदं तरङ्गा इव सागरे तरङ्गा इव सागरे तत्त्वम् एव न सन्देह तत्त्वम् एव न सन्देह चिन्मूर्ते विज्वरो भव चिन्मूर्ते विज्वरो भव श्रद्धस्वतात श्रद्धस्व श्रद्धस्वतात श्रद्धस्व नात्र मोहं कुरुष्व भो नात्र मोहं कुरुष्व भो ज्ञानस्वरूपो भगवान् ज्ञानस्वरूपो भगवान् आत्मा त्वं प्रकृते परः आत्मा त्वं प्रकृते परः. Reading out the beautiful translation by Thomas Byram. You are not your body is not yours. You are not the doer. You are not the enjoyer or sufferer. You are pure awareness, the witness of all things. You are without expectation, free. Wherever you go, be happy. Desire and aversion are of the mind. The mind is never yours. You are free of its turmoil. Your awareness itself, never changing. Wherever you go, be happy. For see, the self is in all beings and all beings are in the self. Know you are free, free of I, free of mind. Be happy. In you the worlds arise like waves in the sea. It is true, you are awareness itself. So free yourself from the fever of the world. Have faith, my child, have faith. Do not be bewildered, for you are beyond all things, the heart of all knowing. You are the self, you are God. Now, time to enjoy the benefits of all that we have done, all the hard work we put in yesterday and today. So we'll see the benefits of it all. First, death. That's not a benefit. That's a problem we'll tackle by the knowledge that we have got. We'll tackle this problem. I mentioned that, R.D. Laing points out the three things that human beings are afraid of: death, minds, our own minds, and other people. Hell is other people. So, death itself. You see, no religion really believes that we die at the death of the physical body. Every religion believes that there's something beyond the physical body. Every religion. Unless you believe something survives, you in some sense survive the death of the physical body, you can't have a religion. You can't have a religion. It would be materialism. When you say literally at the end of the physical body, at physical death, everything is gone, then all you mean is that we are material beings. That's all. There's nothing left over after the body goes back to the, you burn it or cremate it or bury it or whatever. So Hindus, Buddhists, Jains, Sikhs, we believe in multiple births. That means the body dies, the physical body dies, but then the subtle body, which is comprised of, manomaya, the pranamaya, manomaya, vijnanamaya, the vital sheet, the mental sheet, and the intellect sheet. And beyond that, the causal body, anandamaya, with the reflected consciousness. It travels. This is called transmigration, utkramana, transmigration. So it travels to different spheres of existence. After this body, it goes elsewhere, experiences other things. If you are a nice person, lots of good karma, then you go to a nice place and it's a pleasant time. And you come to Doubletree and it's very, very, very nice. But if you don't have good karma, you're outside. It's 80 degrees or 90 degrees in the heat, and so it's not so nice. This is heaven and hell. Ideas of heaven and hell in Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism. There are multiple heavens and multiple hells. So, various hells where we get the results of our past karma and we suffer, or various heavens where we get the results of good karma in the past and we enjoy. But all of it comes to an end and you come back here. You know, I mentioned this Swami yesterday, Swami Nishreyashanandaji, whose classes, his notes of Swami Yogeshanji was based on, and where he mentioned this chapter 15. So he had this very unique way of teaching these concepts. So one way he taught multiple lifetimes was this. You know what it's like to go to heaven? It's like this. He was teaching Vedanta in South Africa in those days, 1970s, 60s, 70s. So he says, when I traveled from Durban to Mumbai, in those days it was Bombay. So I traveled from Durban to Bombay, I book a ticket on Air India and I buy the ticket. And then I go, and then there's the air hostess who's standing there and saying, come, this is your allotted seat. This is literally a translation from one of the Upanishads, which says what happens when this departed soul, goes to heaven, and there are these heavenly beings who say, come, this is literally, ehi, come, see, this is the heaven you have won by your past good karma. So this is your seat. You go and sit there. He says, I go and sit there. And then I go up 30,000 feet in the air. It's cool and it's very climate controlled, very nice. And then they show me a movie. In those days, it seems they didn't have the single screens. They would have a screen which would come down in the middle of the plane, and you could see a movie. And then the air hostess comes with food and drinks and gives you that. It's all very nice, enjoyable. Then you land in Mumbai, and the captain tells you, "Thank you for flying Air India. It is we have arrived in Bombay, and the temperature outside is 100 in the shade with 100% humidity. Welcome to Bombay." And you say, no, I don't want to go. I want to stay here. It's all very nice. No, you can't stay. You're welcome to come back again. You can buy another ticket and fly again. But right now, you have to go back. Similarly, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, with your earned merit, with your good karma, you go to heaven, some heaven. It can be an economy class heaven. It could be premium heaven. It could be a first class, business class heaven, and so on. You'll have a nice time of it. But after some time, you'll be back again. In the Gita, Krishna says, Kshine punya matyalokam vishanti. Once your punya, your good karma is exhausted, you're back here. And back here, you don't start where you ended. Actually, you start at the beginning all over again, in the sense that samskaras are there, but you start as a baby, and then you have to go to kindergarten, and to grade school, and to college again, and find a job, and so on. All of that has to be gone through again in this world, and more Vedanta lectures. So, the Hindus, Buddhists, Jains, Sikhs, in fact all Christians, Muslims, Jews, anybody, Zoroastrians, anybody who believes in religion, any kind of religion, one thing you are already signing up for is that you don't die at physical death. So in one sense, you are immortal. Nothing can really destroy you. The physical body dies, but you go on. But that's no good, because it doesn't end suffering. It continues. It's not good news. You still are there, and you're still limited, and you're still subject to all sorts of things in life, life after life. I saw this cartoon with this American guy talking to an Indian guy. The American guy is saying, "I'm a born again Christian," and the Indian guy is saying, "I'm a born again and again and again and again Hindu." None of that helps. It's only when you realize your nature as the unborn consciousness, that you are no birth, no death, your awareness itself. There is this funny story. Again, by the way, this is also written by Swami Yogeshananda. He wrote an amazing book. That's the first time I heard of Swami Yogeshananda. He wrote an amazing book, 6 Lighted Windows. 6 Lighted Windows. If you have not If you have not read it, I strongly recommend that you read it. It's his experience of 6 senior Swamis, enlightened Swamis he met in his life, and his personal experience, personal take on them. He writes about Swami Nikhilananda, who was in New York, Swami Ashokananda, who was in San Francisco, Swami Prabhavananda, who established the Vedanta Society of Southern California in Hollywood. He writes about Swami Madhavanandaji, who was the president of the order. He writes about Prabhavanji mentioned, Yatishwaranji, who was the vice president of the order, and also was in the United States and in Europe, and Swami Ghananandaji, who was in London, in the Vedanta Center in London. So six lighted windows. In that, there is an interesting story he narrates himself about meeting Swami Madhavanandaji. Madhavanandaji was the president of the Ramakrishna order, and towards the end of his life, he had a tumor in the brain, and his Swami Nikhilananda was in New York and a very good friend. So he said, if you come over here, I'll arrange for your treatment, your brain surgery and physiotherapy and everything. So Swami Madhavananda came over from India to the West, New York, and he had the surgery and afterwards the post-operative cares, physiotherapy and all. So very interesting stories are there of that time. Not relevant, but I'll narrate 2 of the stories anyway. Yogishanji's mentioned all of them. He was an eyewitness to all those things. So Swami Nikhilananda, the head of the Vedanta Center, the Ramakrishna Vivekananda Center in New York. We have 2 centers there. So the other center, the East Side Center. There he constructed he had installed a separate railing on the staircase because he knew after the operation the Swami would need some support to climb up. And he warned everybody in the Vedanta Center there in ashram, don't tell him that we put it in specially for him. Because he's a very austere man, and he won't like it at all if we do anything extra for him. So, and it so happened, exactly what he had feared happened. After the operation, when the Swami with great difficulty was climbing back the stairs back to his room, somebody very helpfully said, Swami, use this railing, it's been put in specially for you. And the Swami never again touched that railing. That was one story. The second story was the physiotherapist who, in order to help him develop to regain his skills in walking, what he did was he took some volumes out of the library and arranged them in different levels of books, high, low, obstacles, like a little obstacle course. So you have to step over them. And he found to his surprise, the Swami was unable to step over anything and kept on encouraging him. The Swami couldn't do it. And finally he said sheepishly, he said, actually in India we regard books as Saraswati. So we can't step over Saraswati. So that was another thing. And the example the reason why I brought up this story is the third anecdote. So when Swami Madhavananda was there, at that time, the birth control pill had just been invented. There used to be big debates in American society, whether you're for the pill or against the pill, what's good, what's bad, and is it moral, immoral, all sorts of stuff. So at that time, some of the American devotees, they were debating this, talking about it. And they thought, Swami won't be interested in such things. So are you for the pill or against the pill? And the Swami said from there, I am for birth control. And then they looked at him, oh Swami, you have an opinion on this? He said, yes, no birth, no death. So what happens? See, practically we are immortal anyway because we don't die with the death of the death is death of the body. But that does not free us from suffering. What frees us from suffering is the realization of our immortal nature. Immortal nature doesn't mean that you're born once and then you will die, you will never die again. It means you're never born and you will never die. You are that unlimited consciousness which was never embodied. So that is freedom. And that is what Ashtāvakra is telling us. You already have that. You just have to realize it. Number 9th verse. Gunai samveshtito deha Gunai samvishtito deha tishtatyayati yati cha tishtatyayati yati cha atma naganta naganta atma naganta naganta kimenam manushochasi kimenam manushochasi. The body, composed of the ingredients of nature, comes, stays, and goes. The self neither comes nor goes. Why then do you mourn it? The English, the translation by Byram. The body is confined by its natural properties. That means it will age and die. It's subject to aging, decay, disease, death. The body is confined by its natural properties. It comes, it lingers a while, it goes. But the self neither comes nor goes. So why grieve for the body? Then the 10th verse. That's also about death, how you are free of death. Dehastishtatu kalpantam Dehastishtatu kalpantam Gacchatvadhyaiva va punaha Gacchatvadhyaiva va punaha Kva vriddhi kva cha vahani Kva vriddhi kva cha vahani Tava chinmatra rupinaha Tava chinmatra rupinaha. Let the body last to the end of the kalpa, the cycle, or let it go even today. Where is there any increase or decrease in you who are pure intelligence or pure consciousness? The translation by Byram. If the body lasted till the end of time or vanished today, what would you win or lose? Your pure awareness. Beautiful. You must be ready to die today. No problem. Or ready to live. Some people want to cling on to life. They'll be delighted. Yeah, I'm ready to live. Some people want to die. Especially I've seen elderly people sick or in chronic pain. I wish I would die. I don't want to live anymore. That's also not spiritual. And there are others who cling on to life, terribly afraid of death. That's also not spiritual. Look at what Ashtāvakra says. Let the body last till the end of time. Not only 100 years. End of this cycle. Kalpantam means this cycle of creation, existence, and destruction of the universe. Let it last till the end of the cycle. Or let it vanish today. You really should be, in all seriousness, ready to shrug. All right, I'm ready. What would you win or lose? If the body disappears today, you don't lose anything. If the body lives for 100 years, 1,000 years, you don't get anything extra. You are pure awareness. There is this, all right, I'll come to that later. So death, the conquest of death. Swami Vivekananda, when he came to the West, he would introduce Vedanta with a quotation from the Upanishads, actually from different Upanishads put together, which he loved. This has become quite famous, actually, I think, post Vivekananda. It goes like this. Shrinvantu vishve amritasya putraha aye dhamani divyani tastu vedaham purusham mahantam aditya varnam tamasah parastat tameva viditva ati mrityumeti nanyah pantha vidyate ayanaya. What does it mean? Listen, ye children of immortal bliss. Because I'm going to tell you something that even the gods do not know this message, this teaching. The gods and the devatas in the heavens, in the Air India flight over, they don't know this message either. What is this message? I have realized the infinite being. Oh, really? What's it like? It's radiant like the sun and forever beyond darkness, beyond the darkness of death and misery and limitation. So if you have realized this, what happens? By realizing this, one goes beyond death. Tameva viditva ati mrityumeti. One goes beyond death. One goes beyond suffering. One goes beyond old age, disease. That's what the Buddha taught. There's suffering and there's a way beyond suffering. You go beyond that. Not that when you say they go beyond old age, that I can see smiles around, oh, that will be great. Not in that sense. What is that? Forever 21 or something like that is there, shop. Not like that. Not that the body will never age, body will age. Not that the body will never sicken, body will sicken. Not that the body will never die, the body will die. But it's nothing to you. Like Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita, it's like a change of clothes. As old clothes, you throw it in the laundry basket and you put on a fresh set of clothes. So when the body is weary and damaged and old and not functional, the sentient being, the soul, that means the jivatma, sentient being, it casts it off and goes on to newer bodies, better equipment. So this is, once one goes beyond death by realizing that infinite being, this consciousness. That realizing means what sense? I am that. I am Brahman. You realize that. Isn't there any other way of overcoming suffering, overcoming limitation, old age, death? How about anti-aging pills? How about doing lots of yoga and eating what? Gluten-free. Eating gluten-free. Yeah, it's the fad. I saw, and I think California leads in all of this. I saw outside our ashram in Hollywood, there's a big sign which said, and only in California, gluten-free vodka. So, or some other way. I mentioned yesterday I was interviewed by a television serial for Secrets of Immortality. How do yogis live for 100 years, 200 years? They were not interested in Vedanta. I told them, if you realize your pure consciousness, you're immortal. You won't even die ever. You haven't even died once. No, they're not interested. But Trailanga Swami lived for 280 years in Benares. It's a recorded, even the British were there at that time. So it is documented. That was fascinating. How can you live for 100 years, more than 100 years, and so on? They're now thinking of, if the body dies, can I upload myself to the cloud? Digital personality. Yeah. No, you don't have to do that. You don't need to. God has already made the upload arrangements and everything. When the physical body dies, you are automatically uploaded. And then you come back, downloaded into new hardware. No. Nanyah pantha vidyate ayanaya. There is no other way. No other way. No material way is sufficient. The only way to attain, to go beyond death, beyond suffering, beyond limitation, is the spiritual way. So that is the teaching given here. Very beautiful. You need not be afraid of death. Let the body stay. I remember this thing reminded me, let the body live for 100 years or for till the end of time, or let it die today. I remember when Swami Bhuteshanandaji, 12th president of our order, he came for the last time to our ashram, where I joined as a monk, a place called Deoghar Vidyapith, Ramakrishna Mission Vidyapith, Deoghar. At that time the state was called Bihar, now the state is called Jharkhand in India. So the Swami is the head of the entire Ramakrishna order. This was in 1994. The Swami, who was the head of our ashram, he was trying to persuade the Swami to come, and he was also nervous because the president of the order, and he is in his late 90s. So anything could happen. I mean, if the president dies while he's in your ashram, you feel bad, right? Swami Bhuteshanandaji assured him, don't worry, nothing is going to happen. I'll go there, it'll be all right. And it was all right. So he said something very remarkable to our Swami at that time, the head of our ashram. He said, listen, I neither have any desire to live any longer, but nor do I have any particular desire to die also. I want to live, that's everybody wants to. I want to live a little more, somehow. And there are some who say, I want to die. It's horrible. I don't want to live a single day more. It's terrible for whatever reason, physical, mental agony, pain, something. No, the enlightened person is absolutely unconcerned. let the body live according to prarabdha karma, let it go according to prarabdha karma. Vivekananda says, heed no more than how body lives or goes. Let karma float it down. Its task is done. Yes. Then the next verse, 11th verse. Tvayanantamaham bodhau, Tvayanantamaham bodhau, Vishwavichi swabhavataha, Vishwavichi swabhavataha, Udetu vastamayatu, Udetu vastamayatu, Nate vriddhi na vakshatihi, Nate vriddhi na vakshatihi. In you who are the infinite ocean, let the waves of the universe rise or fall according to their own nature. That means no gain or loss to you. Look at Byram's translation. You are the endless sea, in whom all the worlds like waves naturally rise and fall. You have nothing to win, nothing to lose. You are the limitless sea, the ocean, in which the waves, the universe rises and falls like waves. See, when the waves come up, it's the same amount of water. The sea is not increased thereby. When the waves subside, still the same amount of water. The sea is not decreased thereby. Exactly like that. There is another sequence in the Ashtāvakra where he uses the ocean metaphor. I don't know if he lived near the ocean, but he uses the ocean metaphor many times. So there's another sequence where he gives 3 levels of realization about the ocean and yourself. I mean, using the ocean metaphor about yourself. 3 levels, each deeper than the earlier one. I'll chant those and translate for you. Very beautiful. Mai ananta maham bodhau vishwapota itastataha Brahmati swantavatena namamastya sahishnuta. In me, the infinite ocean of consciousness, the universe floats like a little boat. See, immediately our understanding of ourselves and the universe is reversed. We think there's a vast universe, I'm a tiny little creature in this universe. But Ashtāvakra says, you are the vast. The universe is in you. You are not in this universe. The body is in this universe. Even the mind is in this universe. In this vast material universe, the body is a tiny part of it, extremely tiny part of it. In this vast mental universe, your mind is a particular whirlpool, which you call this mind. But you, as the witness consciousness of it, you are not limited. You, in the infinite, limitless existence consciousness bliss, the universe, this physical universe and the mental universe is like a little boat. It floats in you. That means in your awareness. And how does it float? Swantavatena. Usually a boat is blown by a breeze. Here the breeze is internal to the boat. It's a strange boat. Internal to the boat means cause and effect, internally. That's what propels this boat of this life or this universe. Antavata. Sometimes it wobbles up, sometimes it appears to sink. It's moving here and there. Itastata, it's moving here and there. Now, what is the ocean's attitude towards the boat? The vast ocean. What's its attitude towards that little boat? Nothing. It's patient. Let the little boat do whatever it likes. It's nothing to me. Similarly, you, the vast ocean of consciousness, what's your attitude towards your life, this life of this person which you are? You're patient. Let it be. You have seen so many of these lives come and go. From your perspective, let it go around, let it float around. Sometimes there is happiness, sometimes there's misery, sometimes it's young, then it grows old, and then sometimes it's healthy, sometimes it's sick, sometimes successful, sometimes failure. Na mamastya asahishnuta. I have no impatience with life. I'm reminded Sri Ramakrishna. He would say, I'll tell you in Bengali, it's a plain words, but I will explain. Je shoy she roy, je na shoy tar na shoy. the one who withstands, who is patient, who is tolerant, who can hold on. That one survives, that one will go on. The one who becomes impatient, shaky, nervous, that one faces destruction. And there's another one which works only in Bengali. He would say, Sha, Sha, Sha. Bengalis, there are 3 Sars in Sanskrit. Sar, Sha, Sha. Bengalis pronounce all of them the same. Sha, Sha, Sha. So, Sri Ramakrishna would make a pun on that. And that Sha means, in Hindi they say Sahana. That means to withstand, to be patient, to have basically staying power, stamina in life. That's what's important. Through youth and middle age and old age, through success and failure, through acclaim and insult, through all sorts of ups and downs in life. Hold on, hold on. So that's the meaning. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Sha, sha, sha. Namamastya Sahishnuta. That's the first level of realization. But notice one thing. The boat and the ocean are not exactly the same. The boat is something in the ocean. The next verse gives you a deeper state of realization. Maya nantam maham bhodau vishwavichi swabhavata udetu vastamayatu name vriddhi navakshatihi. In me, the infinite ocean of consciousness, the waves of the universe rise and fall. Exactly this verse. In that sequence, it is me, the infinite ocean of consciousness. Here it is saying in you, the infinite ocean of consciousness. So in me, the infinite ocean of consciousness, the universe rises like a wave and then falls back like a wave again. And the ocean is neither increased when the wave comes up, neither decreased when the wave subsides. Similarly, you are an ocean of consciousness. In you, the body is born, newborn baby. Are you increased thereby? Is consciousness increased thereby? No. It ages, becomes older, and then maybe old age and sickness. Are you reduced thereby? No. Death comes. Are you reduced thereby? Yours the same consciousness. No. Whether success comes or failure comes, prosperity comes or poverty comes, you, the consciousness, are not decreased or increased thereby. Name vriddhi navakshati. I have nothing to gain here, nor can I lose anything here. What a vast way of looking at things. Then the third level of realization, the deeper level. Mayananta maham bhodau vishwam nama vikalpana ati shanto nirakara etadevaham asthitaha. See, when you say waves are coming and going, there's still the feeling of something is happening. Although it's all water, but something is happening. The next level, the third level says, in you, the infinite ocean of existence, the universe is an illusion. Then what are you? Ati Shanta. Completely peaceful, completely serene, completely unmoved. Beyond any forms. I've never taken the form of a universe, though it appears in me like a movie on a screen. The screen is completely unmoved. Even when in the movie, see, in a ocean, waves are coming and going, you can say something is happening. But in a movie, on the screen, let there be an inferno. The screen is not burnt thereby. Let there be a deluge and a flood. The screen does not become even a little bit wet. Let King Kong come and destroy New York or whatever. The screen is not scared. The screen is completely unmoved by the illusion of the movie arising in it. Similarly, you, the ocean of consciousness, are completely unmoved even when the illusion of the universe and a body and a life arises in you. Then how do you live? How are you? You are eternally calm, undisturbed, formless. The form of the life and the universe has appeared, but you are formless. Etadevaham asthita. Thus do I abide from eternity to eternity. Even saying eternity to eternity is a poetic way of speaking, because even time is part of the movie. You are beyond time itself. So, very beautiful. Name vriddhi navakshati. All right, let's do a couple of more verses and we'll stop and take some questions. number 12. Tata chinmatra ruposi, Tata chinmatra ruposi, Nate bhinnam idam jagat, Nate bhinnam idam jagat, Ata kasya katham kutra, Ata kasya katham kutra, Heyopadeya kalpana, Heyopadeya kalpana. My child, you are pure consciousness itself. This universe is nothing different from you. Therefore, how and where can anyone have the idea of acceptance and rejection? See, child, you are pure awareness, nothing less. You and the world are one. So who are you to think you can hold on to it or let it go? How could you? If I tell you, you tell me, Swami, hold on to the bottle. I say, I can do it. Swami, let go of the bottle. I can do it because it's different from me. But if you say, Swami, hold on to yourself. Swami, let go of yourself. How? I can't. So, this idea that we want something in this life, or we are going to give up something in this life. We want, that's a worldly way of living. I want more knowledge, I want more money, I want more reputation, I want more achievements, I want a family, and I want this and that and the other thing, and more, if I get it, I am happier, I am more fulfilled. That's a worldly way of living. What does the monk say? I want to give up everything. I don't want a family, I don't want money, I want to drop out of school, I want to go off into the mountains, and I want to sit and meditate and give up everything in the world. Both are in delusion, according to Ashtāvakra. There's nothing that you could add to yourself because the whole universe is already you. And there's nothing that you could give up. What will you give up? The whole universe is you. Where will you give up what? Who will give up? Where will they, by what will they give up, and where will they give up? He says, Kasya katham kutra. Kasya, who is going to give up? You, the limitless consciousness, where everything is there, everything is one with you. What will you give up? And how? By what? It's usually when I am a person with a mind and a body, I can get things, I can get rid of things. But you are one consciousness. There is body, mind, and all appearances. By what will you give up anything? Or by what will you get something? And where? Where is the space where you will throw something or from which you will get something? They are all in you, or their appearances in you. Swami Vivekananda, he says in a very powerful passage, he says, the one who wants to run away from the world and meditate and die in a Himalayan cave, he has missed the way. And the one who wants to plunge headlong into the vanities and the superficialities of this world, he too has missed the way. But that's very strange. If you run away from the world, you've missed the way. If you plunge into the world, you've missed the way. Then what is the way? There's only two ways, right? Either you retreat from it or you plunge into it. Either you catch hold of it or let go of it. He says the ways to divinize life itself is to see God wherever you are, with whomever you are, in everybody, in everything you see the same divinity, you within yourself and outside. And I read this, it struck me. I've read this a number of times, but I always remember this because I read it at a time when I had run away from even the ashram and I was sitting and meditating, not literally in a Himalayan cave, but in a Himalayan hut. It's there, it's meditating and reading Vivekananda. So I said, I want to stay by myself in the Himalayas and sit and beg for my food and sit and meditate and study. I don't even want to, in the ashram, a lot of good work goes on, but even that also I don't want to do. I just want to be by myself. And I was doing that. And after 2 months of doing that, one day I was reading Vivekananda, and Vivekananda said, this one has missed the way. Literally, he described me. He who wants to run away from life and meditate and die in a Himalayan cave has missed the way. Why is that so? Imagine the classic gold and ornaments example. If, There are ornaments, a necklace, a bracelet, a ring, they're all made of gold. And somebody comes and tells you the ornaments are not the ultimate reality, gold is the ultimate reality. And if someone does not understand what gold is, suppose someone doesn't understand, then he's saying that, oh, gold is the ultimate reality, let me throw away the ornaments, like the monk who has thrown it away, let me search for the gold. Will he find the gold? No. Because he has already made a huge mistake. He didn't recognize the gold there, he won't recognize it elsewhere. And the one who says, oh, okay, this necklace is gold, he too has missed the way, because the moment the necklace is melted and made into a bracelet, he will think the gold is gone. The moment the circumstances of my life change, I want to be popular and rich and young and everything has to go right well for me. The moment the Wall Street crashes and I become older, the first gray hair and the wrinkles come and I lose my Facebook followers or whatever, disaster. The gold is gone. No, it has changed from that form into this form. The same divinity is there everywhere. So either way, Ashtāvakra puts it very well. You can neither give it up nor get it also. The story of the princess of Kashi. Can the prince marry the princess of Kashi? Can he get her? No. Because he is her. Or she is him. The princess of Kashi is nothing other than the prince. Can he divorce her? No. Because princess of Kashi is nothing other than the prince. So, exactly like that. We, of course, do not have time to complete all the verses, but let's chant the remaining verses and just read the translation. It's not difficult. Now we have the essence. The basic message is exactly the same. So we have the essence. We'll just chant and listen to the translation in a contemplative, quiet, meditative mood, and then we'll go into Q&A. 13. Ekasmin avyaye shante, ekasmin avyaye shante, chidakashe male tvayi, chidakashe male tvayi, kuto janma kuto karma, kuto janma kuto karma, kuto hankara evacha, kuto hankara evacha. You are the clear space of awareness, pure and still, in whom there is no birth, no activity, no I. You are one and the same. You cannot change or die. Number 14. Yattvam pashyasi tatreka, yattvam pashyasi tatveka, tvameva pratibhasase, tvameva pratibhasase, kim prithak bhasate swarnat, pritat bhasate swarnat, katakangadanupuram, katakangadanupuram. These are such amazing verses. You are in whatever you see, you alone. Just as bracelets and bangles and dancing anklets are all the same gold. This is the princess of Kashi example. The prince, in what he saw, he was himself that. He didn't recognize it. Whatever you see, whomever you see, place, activity, event, person, living, non-living, animal, human, whatever, you are that actually. Verse number 15. Ayam soham ayam naham, ayam soham ayam naham, vibhagam iti santyaja, vibhagam iti santyaja, sarvam atmeti nishchitya, sarvam atmeti nishchitya, nissankalpa sukhi bhava, nissankalpa sukhi bhava. I am not this, I am he. Give up such distinctions. Know that everything is the self. Rid yourself of all purpose and be happy. You know what the hippies were reading. Then number 16. Tavaiva jnanato vishvam, tavaiva jnanato vishvam, tvamekah paramarthata, tvamekah paramarthata, tvattvannyo nasti sam, tvanyo nasti samsari na sangsari cha kaschana. Okay, let's do it this way. Tvattonyo nasti samsari, tvattonyo nasti samsari, na samsari cha kaschana, na samsari cha kaschana. 16. The world only arises from ignorance. Actually, the literal translation is from ignorance of your real nature. If you don't know yourself, suddenly it appears as the world. You alone are real. There is no one, not even God, separate from yourself. Bhranti matram idam vishwam, bhranti matram idam vishwam, nakinchid iti nishchayi, nakinchid iti nishchayi, nirvasana spurti matro, vasana spurti matro, nakinchid iva shamyati. You are pure awareness. The world is an illusion, nothing more. When you understand this fully, desire falls away. You find peace. For indeed, there is nothing other than you, the pure consciousness. You can see why these things are particularly appealing to monks. Why Advaita, non-dualism, became a very monastic philosophy. Ashtāvakra was an all-renouncing monk. However, that does not mean it cannot be practiced in the world. It can in fact be a very powerful philosophy for you to live in the world with. It's a great security, great protection, a tremendous armor of non-duality. Remember who is telling this to? Janaka, who is an emperor, a king, an emperor, in the midst of politics and power and family and an empire, all the problems and ups and downs of that. And he finds this the most useful philosophy for him. How do you keep calm in the midst of this turbulent ocean? It's easy to see this is the truth if you are a monk. You give everything up, you're perfectly all right, peaceful. And if you're a monk and you still can't practice this, there's something wrong. Or I read something very interesting. It's about philosophy and spirituality. So it's not directly relevant, but let me mention it to you. It says, there's an old saying which says that if two philosophers agree on something, one of them is not a philosopher. If two saints disagree on something, one of them is not a saint. Of course, saints can disagree, but on the ultimate things, they don't disagree. It's an old Sanskrit saying, Naso muni yasya matam na bhinnam. That person is not a muni. Muni means a thinker, mananat muni, a philosopher, who does not have an independent, separate opinion of his or her own. So, if two philosophers agree on something, one of them is not a philosopher. They must disagree on everything. 18. Eka eva bhavam bodhau, eka eva bhavam bodhau, asidasti bhavishyati, asidasti bhavishyati, nate bandhosti moksho va, nate bandhosti moksho va, krita kritya sukham chara, krita kritya sukham chara. 18. In the ocean of being, there is only one. Who's that? You. There's only one. There was and there will be only one. You are already fulfilled. How can you be bound or free? Wherever you go, be happy. Ma sankalpa vikalpabhyam, ma sankalpa vikalpabhyam, chittam kshobhaya chinmaya, chittam kshobhaya chinmaya, upashamya sukham tishtha, upashamya sukham tishtha, swatmanyananda vigrahe, swatmanyananda vigrahe. 19. Never upset your mind with yes and no. Be quiet, your awareness itself. Live in the happiness of your own nature, which is happiness itself. So you say, all right, it's all very good. Now give me something to do. This is something to do. Make sure your mind is never upset. Because you are never upset. You are continuously, without ceasing, that one existence consciousness place. Now the mind appears to you. Sometimes it gets upset, sometimes distracted. Give it the job. Oh mind, you wanted something to do. All right, here's your job. Don't be upset ever. Be serene continuously. It's a hard job. And you can engage the mind for a lifetime. Then if I fail, if the mind fails, sometimes it gets upset, you are fine. The mind just failed. You can just encourage the mind. Try again, you'll do better. You are fine. It's a good practice. It's an excellent practice. Then the last verse, which is quite a shocker. Tyajaiva dhyanam sarvatra, tyajaiva dhyanam sarvatra, ma kinchid hridi dharaya, ma kinchid hridi dharaya, atma tvam mukta evasi, atma tvam mukta evasi, kim vimrishya karishyasi, kim vimrishya karishyasi. What is the use of thinking? It makes no difference to you as pure consciousness. Once and for all, give up meditation. Oh really? What about my prayer? Give that up also. What about my puja? Give that up also. No. What it means is, give up meditation. If you're established in your real nature as pure consciousness, which is, you're already there. It's showing you the futility of meditation. One Swami put it this way. Our whole attempt in spiritual life is to purify, focus, spiritualize the mind. The sadhu put it, I'll translate into English. He said in Hindi, आप एक मन को सुधारने में लगे हुए हैं. You are engaged so intensely in trying to rectify, purify, spiritualize one mind. ऐसे करोड़ों मन आत्मा के प्रकाश में, सूर्य किरण में धूल के कण जैसा करोड़ों मन उठते हैं, घूमते हैं, लय हो जाते हैं. आप कितने मन को सुधारेंगे? You are engaged in trying to fix one mind. Like this, there are millions, billions of minds floating around in consciousness, like particles of dust floating in one ray of sunlight. Imagine you're this yogi sitting in a Himalayan hut, and the first ray of sunlight comes in through your little window. And in that you see little dust particles, many of them floating around. Like that, in you, the light of your consciousness, millions and billions of minds are floating around. They rise and fall, and they undergo birth and death, waking, dreaming and sleep. How many minds will you repair and purify and spiritualize? So this is a very high standpoint. Give up meditation. Hold nothing in your mind. Easier said than done. Hold nothing in your mind. You are the self and you are free. So this is the 15th chapter of the Ashtāvakra Gita. And thanks to Swami Yogeshananda ji for drawing our attention to this through his notes of the classes of Swami Nishrayashananda ji. Incredible. Whether we like it or not, understand it or not, whether you've got it or not, This is the highest statement of truth you will find in any philosophy, any religion, anywhere in the world throughout the history of humanity. Higher than this is only silence. If you want to put it into words, one word, Om. You want to put it into many words, this. What we have just heard till now. All our meditation, our prayer, our worship, our religion, our philosophy, our action ultimately is meant to lead us to this conclusion. So this is a far goal. It's not a far goal. It's the reality right now. It's a far goal for whom? I don't think so, Swami. This is difficult to understand and so very difficult to practice. It sounds all so theoretical. And Ashtāvakra tells you are there. But no, I don't think so. It's like saying, if I ask you, how do I get to the double tree? Swami, you are there. No, I'm not there. I didn't put in the effort to be there. Then you will tell me, all right, Swami, if you insist, get up, go out of this room, take a walk around the block, come back in there and come and sit here, you will reach the double tree. All religion, spirituality is exactly like that. When we finally come to realization, enlightenment, the highest enlightenment. Before that, there will be many new things which we have never seen earlier. This vision, that light, that sound, this form of God, such ecstasies, all those will come which we have never experienced earlier. But they will come and they will go. When we come to this realization, we'll realize it's always been there. So this is Ashtāvakra. And the whole book is just like this. All right. So you have a question, and just don't come here anymore. I'll keep track of 1, 2, and come here, and 3. Okay, that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're also there. All right, that's it. Let's wait. I'll come to you. We'll take it. We'll go from here. Yes. Yeah. Tell us your name and don't queue up anymore because we have a limitation on the time. Yes.
My name is Jiva. My question is that it is becoming clear to me, I'm relatively a novice in learning Vedanta, but it is becoming clear to me that the teaching of the fact that I am pure consciousness is becoming clearer to me. But is it accurate to feel that only a few truly are able to live in this realization? And if so, why is it that only a few can truly come to and live in this realization?
All right. The question is, I'm beginning to understand this whole teaching of pure consciousness, but is it a fact that only a few can realize this and come to live in it? That's a good way of putting it. Not just realize it, but also live this realization. Is it true? No, it's not true. But it seems to be. Very few of them. Look, 3 of them. The rest of us are just like that. We are listening to all this, but we are not like that. Clearly we are not. The answer to this question is, Ashtāvakra, if you ask him, he would say, you already are that pure consciousness. And we would say, yeah, I know that, but I don't understand it yet. He said, it's not difficult to understand it. And how do I live it? He said, you will say you are living it already. Now, according to Vedanta, we will all realize it. Because you are that, nothing can stop us from realizing that truth. We are that, so we will all realize it. But when we will realize it, either in this life or in lives to come, the process has already started. Vivekananda used to say the truth is a corrosive substance of infinite power. Once you hear the truth, it will keep working. We have heard this today, and we have been hearing this. It will keep working. You will not stop before full realization. In this life, maybe it will take more. If you put in the requisite effort, it will come much more quickly. The second thing I want to say is, once we have tasted this, what could compare to it? So you will stay with it. You will stay with it. You may not keep on reading Ashtāvakra. Maybe you will be interested in meditation. Maybe you will become interested in bhakti. Some form of spirituality, we will stay with it. We have been and we will continue. And also, the benefits of this, it's not all or nothing. It's not that when we become enlightened and become like Vivekananda, then only we will get the benefit of it. No, we're already getting the benefit of it. As we hear, as we meditate, contrary to what Ashtāvakra S says, as we meditate, as we are devotional, as we do become more and more selfless and pure, we get the benefits day to day. It gives us meaning in life. It gives us hope. It gives us strength to face the ups and downs of life. So yes, the answer is we will all become enlightened. We are on the path of becoming enlightened, and we are already getting the benefits of this. Yeah. So I'll take up the questions one by one from there. Yes. Who's the first person to go?
I had a question. It's a follow-up on hers.
Yeah.
Sorry, my name is Giri. My question is it even possible to get a glimpse of enlightenment in our lifetimes? You hear people who say, 1995, I had this experience that I felt one with the universe.
Anybody who's pursuing this particular path will get glimpses. And my advice and the advice of any Vedanta teacher would be, glimpses are good, they are edifying, ennobling, and they encourage us on the path. But the important thing is to keep on hearing, reflecting, meditating. Yeah, especially hearing. Hearing means listening to it, studying it, let it come. See, our problem is like the guy who's told, you are the 10th man story. And suppose the 10th person says, all right, I sort of theoretically get I am the 10th, but when can I really realize I am the 10th? You will. All right, keep on listening. You're the 10th, you're the 10th. That's what Ashtāvakra is doing to us. Yes.
Pranam Swamiji, my name is Nipa, I'm from Atlanta. I have a question. Due to the strong power of Maya, we identify ourselves with this body, mind, intellect, equipment, in spite of intellectually knowing, borrowed knowledge from Swami like you and books, that we are the Brahman, same Brahman that's in everything. But because of the Maya, we are so strongly attached that at worldly level, the suffering that we have to go through because of our past karma, or current karma, or because of our damaged ego, it causes a lot of emotional pain and suffering, mental agitation. So how do we overcome this suffering, and how can we control where our ego does not get hurt that much?
Try to be selfless rather than selfish. Try to be, love of God rather than desire for the world. And try to focus rather than be distracted. So 3 things: selfless, love, focus. And keep on this listening again and again. It will sink in. Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Raja Yoga. These are foundational. They all reduce or attenuate, thin out the ego. Thin out our identification with the body-mind. See, from an Advaitic perspective, what is the point of spiritual practice? It is to remove this ignorance which is stopping us from making this a fact. Ashtāvakra claims it's already a fact. We don't see it that way. We think it sounds amazing, but it doesn't quite feel like a fact yet. That's the ignorance part of it. Now, ignorance is removed by knowledge. Where does knowledge come from? From hearing, reflecting, meditating. That's called Jnana Yoga. When we complain, I've been doing it for a long time. People have told me, Swami, I've been hearing, reflecting, meditating before you were born. I still have not got enlightenment. So the problem is there is a deeper level to the problem, or this is the deepest level of the problem. There's a more surface level to the problem, which is restless mind. The mind is unable to grasp, assimilate what it is hearing, studying. So focus of mind is necessary. Restless mind is the problem. Solution for restless mind is focused mind. And focused mind comes from meditation. Raja Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, whatever you call it. Bhakti is also very useful here. Now somebody will say, but Swami, I've been meditating for 30 years. My mind is as restless as it used to be. Now there is another more surface level of the problem, which is impurities of the mind, impure mind. Impure mind has to be purified, pure mind. How do you do that? Karma Yoga. from selfish action to unselfish action, selfless action. So this is the matrix of sadhana in classical Advaita Vedanta. Classical Advaita Vedanta. Impure mind purified by karma yoga. Purified mind, when it meditates, then the restless mind will become concentrated mind. With the purified and concentrated mind, when you keep on listening to these texts, hearing, reflecting, meditating, knowledge is generated which removes the ignorance, and suddenly you come to see, I always was this. It was always the fact that I was limitless consciousness. It was like some kind of a delusion, some kind of a bad dream that I had thought myself as just this limited being. So yes.
My name is Katrina.
Yes.
And I think you just answered half of my question. The first part of my question was, can you define mind? And I think your last comment was in terms of using yoga and meditation to program or recondition the mind. So
Yes.
what is mind?
Right. So there is a very clear definition. That's the beauty of these systems, whether it's Buddhism or Hinduism, because they engaged in centuries-long debate with each other, they had to clarify these terms. So they had to be very precise about what they were talking about. When we say generally use a term like mind, in Vedanta there is a very clear definition. It's called antahkarana. Antahkarana. What does that mean? Inner instrument. Okay. Are there outer instruments? Yes. Our senses are the outer instruments. Whatever contacts the so-called external world is the outer instrument. So eyes contact that, ears contact sound, tongue, taste, nose, smell, skin, touch. These are all external instruments because they contact a so-called external world. And then they take all that input and dump it into the inner instrument, like a processor in a computer. Now that inner instrument has 4 parts, let's say. Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara. Manas, which is loosely translated as mind. So what does that do? Sankalpa, Vikalpa, which processes, alternates this or that, this, that or the other thing. All sorts of information comes in and it processes it. That's the mind. Buddhi, the definition of Buddhi, all of these are defined. Buddhi means intellect. Is intellect defined? Yes. Nishchayatmika antakarana vritti buddhi. So that the determinative faculty of the inner instrument is called intellect, which says this is this, which gets clarity, which comprehends, which understands. That's called intellect. Then there is something called chitta. Chitta means memory. So the past storehouse, or the storehouse of past experiences, traces left by past experiences. Whatever you've seen, heard, thought, all those leave impressions on the mind. So our storehouse of memories. Memory is the third component of the inner instrument. The last component is ego. Ego, the sense of I. It's also a part of the mind. That's a part of the inner instrument. What does that do? Is the definition of ego? There is. The definition of ego is abhimanatmika antakarana vritti, ahankara. The appropriating function of the mind is called ego. What do you mean appropriating? A lot of things are going on in the mind. Thoughts, emotions, memories, intellect, understanding, desires. All of that has to be integrated into one personality. I am thinking, I am happy, I want, I get it, I don't get it, I can remember or I cannot remember. That I, which coordinates the whole thing into one unit, one person. That's also the mind. That's called ego. So the answer to your question is mind. How do you define mind? In Vedanta, mind is, and this is all taken from Sankhya actually, mind is defined as the inner instrument. So mind is equal to inner instrument. What is this inner instrument? 4 components. One component is, mind, what we more specifically call mind, the processing capacity. Then there is intellect, the understanding capacity. Then there is memory, storehouse of past impressions. And then there is the ego. This is mind. Yes.
My name is Vedanta from Atlanta. Just a prayer guru from my belief in the So, if you answered the previous question, I thought a lot to ponder, a lot to explore from here. I had a question about humankind. You have already established that. So I'll go to a basic question of mine. So you have touched the Vedanta wave, has touched a small wave which is kind of going on. The question is underneath the water, there is a consciousness or awareness. Why is it existing? Honestly, its creator has created the concept. Why is it existing? It's not what is not there.
So why is this consciousness at all existing? Remember, this consciousness is also the same as existence, Sat Chit. So your question is like, why is existence existing? Now the possibility, is there a possibility? Is it a caused existence? When you ask why, you're asking for a cause. Why is the grass wet? Because it rained. Why did it rain? Because of the clouds. Why are there clouds? Because of evaporation. Why is there evaporation? Because of sunlight. And so on. So if you ask, why is there existence? That makes no sense. Why does this book exist? I can answer when something is in the chain of cause and effect, then you can answer this. Because you can say that book is published by such and such people and there's a reason. But why is existence there at all? Can existence not be there? No. So existence is a necessary existence. In philosophy, this is called a necessary existence. There is no cause of existence. Causation starts after existence. When you're asking why, you're asking for a cause. That means you're accepting causality. But causality itself is a thing which exists. So existence is prior to causation. In Vedantic terms, existence is Brahman. And this why is part of Maya. That comes afterwards. You can ask why for everything after Maya. But before Maya, Brahman, you cannot ask why. Because even why is, it does not exist in Brahman. Why starts with Maya. Causality starts with Maya. There is a nice book though, which you might enjoy. Why Does the World Exist? Jim Holt. He is a science reporter, science journalist, New York. He has written this wonderful book. It became a bestseller a few years ago. Why does the world exist? So what he did was this question you asked. He went around asking this question. He asked, not why this thing exists or that thing exists. Why does anything exist? He's asking this question. It's almost similar question. Why does anything exist at all? And he asked this question to scientists, not ordinary scientists. Sir Roger Penrose, who got the Nobel Prize a couple of years ago in England, he interviews top level physicists, he interviews mathematicians. He asks this same question, why does anything exist, to theologians. He asks this question to philosophers, to computer scientists. In fact, there's a chapter in his book, It from Bit from Chit. I took the title of the chapter and gave a talk about it. The name of the chapter is It from Bit. Yeah. So he asked this question to all people and tries to get an answer. What is the answer? Not the answer. What he gets is a wide array of answers or explorations. It's a very nice tour of the cutting edge of human thought today. The latest, craziest theories in physics, in computer science, in philosophy, in theology. So it's a extremely interesting but deep exploration of human thought right now, the latest state of human thought. Why does anything exist at all? Why does the world exist? Jim Holt. Any mention of Vedanta there? Not really, only at one place. He asked one of the leading American philosophers who has passed away recently, Robert Nozick. He was a philosopher of mind, Robert Nozick, Nozick. And there, it's there in the book, he's talking to Robert Nozick about why does anything exist at all. And then after talking a little bit, Robert Nozick sort of, figuratively throws up his hands and says, who knows, maybe the ancient Hindus were right, Atman is Brahman. Yeah. All right.
Namaste, Swamiji. Thank you so much for this retreat, but I also want to thank you for engaging some of the current level of human thought on your YouTube videos with David Chalmers and Leonardo Castro. They're very edifying. I had a quick question related to that. So you brought up the hard problem of consciousness this morning, and it's basically these neurons firing, and they cannot be translated into first-person experience. Fair enough, I get that. But I don't see how consciousness answers the problem directly, because reflective consciousness would reveal or illumine those neurons firing, right? It would just reveal the neuronal activity in the brain as it happens. How does that translate? How does reflective consciousness translate that into first-person experience?
Right. So, the mind, so whenever we experience something, here is a bottle of water. What's happening is, this is taken by the senses, eyes specifically, and it raises a vritti, a movement in the mind. And every movement in the mind is called a vritti. Any thought, anything in the mind is called a vritti, movement in the mind. And every movement in the mind is about something. In modern philosophical language, it's called intentionality. So mind is about something. Every thought is about something. So the thought in the mind about the bottle. And since consciousness is reflected in the mind is reflected consciousness, the thought in the mind about the bottle is illumined by reflected consciousness. And it's a long time in saying all this, but it happens in a flash, and I feel I see the bottle. It's a first person experience. A part of it is material, the bottle, eyes. Then modern neuroscience will come in here and say optic nerves, brain. And then we go back to Sankhya Vedanta, which says mind. But you might ask, from the neuronal firings to the mind, where is the link? That's what they are trying to research and find out. See, let me just say this. Quite apart from consciousness and such, esoteric stuff, nobody, even the physicalist nobody would deny that we have minds. We have got minds. Who's mindless here? Everybody's got minds. But from a scientific perspective, what is a mind? Where is a mind? This is an amazing thing. The data is before all of us. Things like superstrings, black hole, we have to listen to, cosmologists or particle physicists. These are very esoteric things. We have no idea. We have to be educated in that. But that we have minds, we don't need any education to realize that we have got minds. Everybody has got a mind. But science has no grasp on what a mind is. The very minds which do science. You ask a scientist, where is the mind? Literally. Where? You can't say. Whatever you point to, it's a brain, but that means you have already accepted that the brain is producing the mind. There is no way of understanding how the brain produces a mind. Brain just is electrical activity in living flesh. There's a tight correlation between mind and electrical activity in the neurons. But how is one causing the other? How is it producing? No idea. Nobody has an idea. If you could have that idea, AI people could have generated a mind, thoughts in the computer. No. You're only simulating the activities of the mind and replicating its behavior in an entirely different silicon-based medium.
Thank you so much, Swamiji. So, until we get there, if we get there, the answer would be Maya, right? That consciousness allows this first-person experience of neuronal activity to be interpreted as this or that.
No. Not Maya. Don't go there. Just stick to your own experience. First person experience is possible only in consciousness. The question can be put in this way. How does consciousness, the Vedantic, Sankhyan idea, or even David Chalmers' idea of consciousness, how does it solve the problem of first person experience? Straight. The answer is very simple. Since we cannot explain first person experience in terms of the brain, clearly we cannot see how physical activity in the brain is producing first person experience. Then we must postulate there is something else which is producing first person experience. Then we bring in consciousness. You say, what does consciousness do? It is that which gives you first person experience. How? Consciousness plus object is first person experience. Consciousness plus object is first person experience. Just look at your own experience. When do we have experiences? When you, the awareness, when you encounter any object. Bottle, first person experience of bottle. Sound, you're hearing, first person experience of sound. Close your eyes, thoughts, first person experience of thought. Consciousness plus object is first person experience. Yeah. See, a scientific way of putting this would be, you're talking about consciousness and all that. Give me one verifiable thing which consciousness does. Tell me, what does this consciousness do, function? First person experience. Why would you agree to that? Because there's no other way. You can't explain it in any other way. That's what David Chalmers is saying. Once we fail to explain with the current state of understanding, then we must postulate something which explains that. That's consciousness.
But we still don't understand how consciousness does it. Right?
No, that is what consciousness does. That's how define consciousness. You define consciousness as first person experience. However, careful there. There is in fact a definition of consciousness in the ancient texts. I think it's Padmapad or somebody who says, Anubhava matram param brahma. First person experience itself is consciousness. Now, but be careful there. First person experience has an objective side. That is not consciousness. What do I mean by that? The first person experience of bottle of water is different from the first person experience of orange cloth. It's different from the taste of say coffee. It's different from the feeling of a pinch. All these are different first person experiences, but their objective components are different. Bottle is different from cloth, cloth is different from coffee, coffee is different from pinching. But the consciousness, which in each case there is something common, first person, that is consciousness. Yeah. Anubhava matram. Anubhava is not Brahman. Anubhava means experience. Experience is not Brahman. Anubhava matram. If you keep the consciousness part of it only and leave the objective side of it aside for the time being, that is consciousness. Very precise.
Swamiji, my name is Neeraj.
Yes.
I've been listening to the today for about 3-4 years, I would say now. Very, very grateful that you have decided to elucidate Vedanta and etc. But my question, give me a moment to explain the concept. So, if I am at the phase of life where we are hearing with our hands, and according to our ashrama, we have the Vedanta. And at one time, from what I've learned, going through the complete books of Vivekananda at one time wanted to go to hills. And Ramakrishna basically took him to task and told him, that's not for you. And fortunately for us, he did not disappear into the night. From what I listened to you, you have also been with him again. And again, fortunately for us, you chose not to disappear. So now, for people hearing the Mantra Sashna, with very few people in my generation or previous generations even follow it, what do you think is the way to go? Because ultimately there is only one way to go, which is the human path. Right? So before you go there, so one is to participate in this world, and something what you said is crores and billions of particles in the sun. What can we do in this world, right? In terms of trying to serve? It seems pretty despairing.
So
the question is, the peace of mind that Vivekananda found was aspiring for, Ramakrishna told you no. You have experienced some of that, Can you elucidate a little bit of that?
Right. Right. Concentrate more and more on spiritual life. What do you mean by that? Specific program, the 4 yogas. Action, you cannot avoid action. You'll still be something, you'll have to do something for yourself, your maybe local community or family, something will have to be done. There are very few who can withdraw completely from action. It's not also recommended. Very soon, you'll be asking these questions to Google or Alexa or something like that, Ask, is there something else I can help with? Yeah. So, action will be there. Try to make it selfless action, whether it is for the family. There is a difference between poking your nose into the affairs of your children and grandchildren where you're not wanted. to the extent that you are wanted, to the extent that you can help, to that extent you do something, otherwise withdraw. At some time people might say, you're not doing this or that for us. After some time they will say that, oh, grandpa is just like that, leave him alone. Good. Often Vivekananda used to say, by the world forgotten and the world forgetting. The world forgets you very fast. The world is a very selfish place. It moves naturally. Young people have to take care of themselves and their families and their jobs, and there's a life ahead. So they are very self-involved. But you don't have to be sucked into it. You step aside. And then continue with your devotional practices. Bhakti yoga, do not neglect devotional practices. Do not neglect regular meditation. And do not neglect your jnana yoga. The 4 yogas, I'll repeat, that's what Vivekananda said is the most wholesome path. The harmony of the 4 yogas. Even in classical Advaita Vedanta, as I just mentioned, this is central, this inquiry into who am I. But it has to be supported by selfless action, devotion, and meditation. This is a lifetime's work. There is enough to occupy you with. Should I go to the Himalayas and stay in the mountain caves? Don't try. You can try it for a short while, but don't make abrupt changes in life right now. You have become used to a kind of life. Use that. Sri Ramakrishna said, stay where you are. Where will you go around begging for your food at this age? If you go to suddenly throw yourself into a hostile environment which will wear you down physically, you fall sick. If you are hungry, mind will not, as it is, doesn't settle down on God. It will not settle down on God. So you have some measure of comfort. Find out somewhere you have a little bit of solitude. It could be in a house of your own. It could be in a room of your own. It could be in a corner, a desk, writing desk in a corner or near a window of your own. Find out some solitude. Consciously withdraw from too much engagement with family and community in the world, and then focus on spiritual practice.
One quick question. I don't have a view. I haven't felt that in my mind, Vivekananda is
good. Then you should. If you feel the need for mantra diksha, for initiation in a particular path, Vivekananda's our order is Vivekananda's order. Do you live in Atlanta? So keep in touch with the Vedanta Center of Atlanta. Swami Sarvadevananda comes from California. He gives mantra diksha here. If you feel like it, find out more about mantra diksha. Go to the center, ask what is it like, and then if you feel attracted, go in for that. I would recommend it only if you feel like it. If you ask me, it's highly recommended. Yes, the last question. Tell us your name.
God, everyone is all one consciousness. So if Ramakrishna is an avatar or reincarnation of God, then why didn't want a bhakti devotion to Mahaprabhu?
So why? Why is what?
Why didn't want a devotion bhakti to Mahaprabhu?
Why does he have devotion to Mahakali? If he is God, then why has he got devotion to God? Yeah, so the answer is very simple. All incarnations of God, Rama, Krishna, Jesus, Ramakrishna, we find incarnations of God everywhere. They are teachers of humanity. So Sri Ramakrishna, you will find, did a lot of intense spiritual practice. You might ask, if he is God, what is he meditating on? If he is God, whom is he praying to? If he is God, why is he weeping to God for a vision? He is himself God, supposing. So all those things that an incarnation of God does is for teaching the rest of us. So he's showing us how you should pray to God, the way he weeps and prays to Mahakali. That way. He's showing us, so that we can do it like that. So Ramakrishna, how did he feel? Did he feel that he was God? Sometimes he would say, there are two in this body. In his own way he would put it. One is Kali and one is the child of Kali. In this body there are two. Which means he could see himself as one with the Divine Mother, or he could see himself as a child of the Divine Mother. Very good. That's a beautiful question to end with. Let me do a peace chant. And then, you have a question? Okay. Let me do a peace chant and then you'll say some words and then we can have the pranams. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. I pray to Sri Ramakrishna, Ma Sharada and Swami Vivekananda, so that all the knowledge that we have gathered, we have heard, we like, let it blossom in our lives, let it become real, let it illumine our days in this life. All right.
Thank you, Swami. I'm amazed that the sincerity and the devotion you have to explain all the devotees and above all patience. So thank you so much for all the devotees to be here. I'm told that there are about people from 13 different states come here, and it's so amazing. I take this opportunity to express our deepest gratitude on behalf of Vedanta Center of Atlanta, all the devotees over here, to accept the invitation Brother Shankara sent to you, and we all know that how much you are sought after and busy. So thank you so much. I would like to thank all the board members and all the volunteers who are lined up here. John, who started actually this discussion, and he was the one who made the request to Brother Shankara saying that we need to get Swami here for a retreat, and that's how it started.
Yes, he is the one who took initiative.
Yeah, and it was Elizabeth who actually decided to arrange for this venue. And then Dr. Nuli, Dr. Balakrishna, is he here?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
So we were looking at this venue and all. We decided that there will be some cost. We will have to charge an entrance fee. But Dr. Nuli, he was very, very specific. He said, look, this is a spiritual retreat, and we should not charge. And we will pray to Thakur, Sri Ramakrishna, and the money will come. And he relentlessly called so many people, and he got several people to donate. And just let you know that we have received so many donations that we have incurred the cost, and I think it's about more than that. So thank you so much again for all the devotion, and to be here. We have all our plans, but for 2 days to show up, and I see so many of you. And someone said that it's so sad that this retreat is ending, but I guess that's how it is. So that's all I have to say now. And so what we have planned to do is there are several people who would like to make pranams to Swamiji. So we are asking Swamiji to be seated, and then we'll ask all the devotees who want to do pranam to line up here and just make pranam. And please no photos, because Swamiji has